Bada boom, chillers fam in the room. How you doing? Before we start this video, man, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, share, tell a friend to tell a friend, and make sure you guys hit that post notification bell so you guys never miss an episode of the Chill Report, because we are live every single weekday talking about the latest going on in sports. So make sure you guys never ever miss an episode. So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and get to this video, man. Let's get it. The NFL Pro Bowl is officially gone. The NFL has officially scrapped the NFL Pro Bowl entirely. Moving forward, the league will no longer hold an all-star tackle game, skills challenge, or a flag football game, shifting strictly to a honors-only performance award. Now, decision makers included Executive VP of Football Operations Troy Vincent, Executive VP Peter O'Reilly, along with strong backing from the Commissioner Roger Goodell, and direct feedback from the NFL Players Association. Now, the Executive VP, Troy Vincent, stated that the players simply did not want competitive play after a long physical postseason. Forcing an all-star game did not look like a true representation of level physics. So they did not want to do that. They didn't want to, go through a whole thing of, playing in the Pro Bowl, and you're going through a season, like they said, you're going through a postseason if you lucky enough to make it to the playoffs, and then you also got to play in the Pro Bowl. Players did not want to go through that whole thing of having to get back in rhythm, play the game. They didn't want to have to deal with that whole thing, so they decided to just scrap the game entirely. So what will happen now is the Pro Bowl will be a patch putting on your jersey. I believe the award will be announced in December. The selected 88 players will be given a visible mark on their uniforms and be invited to an in-person, non-competitive celebration. It'll be a weekend that they can celebrate with their families in Los Angeles, and they'll just do the Pro Bowl like that. So that way it eliminates any chance of any play. It'll just be like a kind of like award ceremony, if you will. My take on this is, let's be real here, okay? Let's not ignore the elephant in the room. It's been like this for a while. Let's be real. It's not sugarcoated. It's been like this for a while. The Pro Bowl has kind of been looked at as a joke, if you will, just because of, not even because of really the format of it. Now, granted, that has been a topic of concern, but just because of, people have been very, I guess you could say, highly critical of the Pro Bowl because of the players who have had a chance to go to the Pro Bowl, and people. And let me say that real quick. Let me put this out there real quick. If you make a Pro Bowl, in my personal opinion, this is just Chill's opinion, y'all don't gotta agree with me at all, but if you make a Pro Bowl, whether people feel like you deserve to be there or not, the fact that you were in the running to go to a Pro Bowl, I give you props for that. I know people, well, how did this player make a Pro Bowl? That's how you know it's a joke, because he made it, and I get that. But even if you were an alternate, or if somebody got hurt, or if somebody decided, I'm just gonna chill with my family, I'm not gonna go to the Pro Bowl. If that's the case, and they call you and they say, hey, you want to come to the Pro Bowl, and you say, sure, I'll go to the Pro Bowl, I don't feel like that should be like a down tick, or like a bad thing as far as the Pro Bowl. I feel like if they called you, if you were popular enough or you played well enough for them to call you for the Pro Bowl, I think that's just a testament to how the NFL in general looks at you. So I think it's still an honor. I think it still was a great thing to get selected to the Pro Bowl. Just people didn't agree with all the players that got picked sometimes. But hey, I mean, that's going to happen. You're going to have people that feel like, oh, they don't deserve to be there over this player and that player. But, if you had a popularity, you have the stats, something sparked them to call you, whether you were an alternate or injury substitute or whatever. Something sparked them to call you to come to the Pro Bowl. Now, granted, the other 5 players they called, maybe they couldn't make it. Okay, so they called you. Whatever the case is, you're in the Pro Bowl, so I feel like that was still a prestigious honor. But getting back to the elephant in the room, the Pro Bowl has been a very underwhelming thing for a while now. And I'm not talking about from not the fan perspective, but just how I feel like the players look at it and how the players have talked about how they look at the Pro Bowl as of now. Now, granted, from a fan perspective and just as watching the game from the outside looking in, me personally, I don't have a problem with the Pro Bowl. I do feel like I did. Now, I will say this: I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I did feel like the decision to go to a flag football game was very smart, because I felt like the whole thing about the Pro Bowl was the players did not want to risk, getting hurt, getting injured, especially after they just played a full season. Troy Vincent, the executive VP, like I just read to you guys, said that the whole meaning behind this was the players did not want they did not want to go through a thing of competitive play after going through a season, and for those who make it to the playoffs, a even longer pause, an even more extensive season, because you got to go through the postseason and playoffs and more practice and more preparation and all that stuff. So they did not want to have to go through, a episode or a series of having to be competitive and having to worry about competitive play when they just went through a full season, and for those who make it to the playoffs had to go through more than the ones who just made it through the regular season had to. They don't want to deal with that. They just want to chill and relax and just, they go through a season, they want to relax and just chill out. And that's it, man. They did what they came to do. If they made it to the playoffs, if they didn't, everybody's trying to make it to the Super Bowl. So this is already like a thing of, okay, you didn't make it to the Super Bowl, so hey, you can come and get celebrated for your accomplishments. But, after, all that practice, preparation, studying, all of that stuff, they didn't want to go through the whole thing of actually having to be competitive in a game after that, to add stress to their body, pause, to potentially risk the, knock on wood, risk the thing of getting hurt. They don't want to have to go through that. So I understood, and I actually agreed with the fact that they were changing it to a flag football game, because I felt like that was a more Pro Bowl thing. Like I kind of felt like that was more of the way they wanted to go. Now, this has been speculated for a while. I'm pretty sure if you guys are in the NFL loop or in the sports loop, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard this for a while, of people just saying, hey, we should just go ahead and just scrap the Pro Bowl in general. And apparently the players were listening. Apparently the NFL was listening. So just go ahead and scrap it completely, because it's not, it's not respected as it once was. It's not as prestigious as it once was, the game at least. Now, granted, I still feel like the prestige of going to the Pro Bowl, I feel like it's still there. Like, okay, if it's me, okay, hypothetically, if I was an NFL player and y'all like, okay, Chill is a 8-time Pro Bowler. Okay, now that still holds weight. That's okay. That's still like a respectable accomplishment. It let people know that, okay, he's one of the best players in the NFL. So I feel like the prestige of going to the Pro Bowl honestly was still there. Now, the game part, like the actual playing in the actual game in the Pro Bowl, I feel like that died a while ago. I'll be honest with y'all. I feel like the whole game, I feel like that died a while ago. They're like, and we've had great players in the Pro Bowl, and no disrespect to them, but I feel like the interesting part of playing in the Pro Bowl game and having a competitive game, and you get to the best teams from the best players from the AFC and the best players from the NFC, and you get to go against each other, and now you're on a super team. So it's kind of like, okay, you get to play with the quarterback that you'll never had a chance to play with. If you're in the AFC, you get a chance to play with, hypothetically, Patrick Mahomes, and you'll never have a chance to, be thrown passes by Patrick Mahomes. So this is your chance to, get a Patrick Mahomes pass or get a Patrick Mahomes touchdown, or you get to play with Lamar Jackson, even though you'll never have the chance to go to the Ravens, or whatever the case may be. And I felt like that whole part of the game, like playing in the actual game, I felt like that died a while ago. That been done, in my opinion. But the prestige of going to the Pro Bowl, in a way, I felt like was still there. So I'm glad that they're going to keep it as far as the mark on the jersey and actually making it a thing. Like, okay, yeah, you're a Pro Bowler. But them switching it to like a honors only kind of thing, to where, okay, like you go to an award ceremony, okay, you're a Pro Bowler. It's understandable. Especially when you realize it'd be different if we were still in the prime of the Pro Bowl. Like, okay, we're players, with go to the Pro Bowl and it's out in Hawaii and you get a chance to go chill with the homies, and you get a hotel and you just relax and you chill out for the week and you bring your family up and you get a chance to go against the other conference, and you and the quarterback that you'll never have the chance to be a teammate of again. Y'all get a chance to talk, and y'all get a chance, okay, this is what we gonna do to the AFC on Sunday. So, and then you got stuff on Saturday. You got stuff that whole weekend. You got skills challenges. It's fun. If it was still like that environment, that aura that was still there about the Pro Bowl, if it was still like that, then I feel like it would be more of a big deal that they're gonna just scrap it completely. But to be completely honest with y'all, the Pro Bowl for a while, I feel like, has just been hanging on. Like, okay, they switched it from a padded game to a flag football game. Like I said, I agree with that. I had no problem with that. And then they went to the whole, okay, it's a flag football game. And then they said, okay, now we'll focus more on, instead of the game, we'll focus more on the skills challenges part. Okay, so it'll be a day of skills challenges, and then you focus on the game part. But I felt like they were just kind of beating around the bush of the whole thing. Of players did not want to, like the players said, like the NFLPA said, and like they agreed upon, they did not want to go through a full season, play all of these games, do all that preparation, study all these hours, all this different things, all these, how some players prepare their minds, how some players prepare their bodies, pause. People go to the extremes of, trying to get themselves ready to play NFL football. Some players more than others, people have their own processes and how they get locked in or whatever. They don't want to go through a full season of that. And then also, after putting their bodies through that, after putting their minds through that, pause, after, going through all of that locked in intense training and intense preparation, they didn't want to do that and then also have to turn right around and play in a Pro Bowl game as well. And, have to go to wherever and play in a Pro Bowl game as well. Now, I will say this. For the people, and I don't know if you guys have been on, in these circles or in these conversations over the last couple days, but for the people that say these players are ungrateful or they aren't appreciative of like the time of the NFL celebrating them, here's what I'll say to that. I try to look at stuff from people's perspectives, right? Like, so whatever it is you do, whatever the career path you're in, say they had an all-star weekend to celebrate you, okay? They all-star weekend to celebrate the best people in your field. And say, okay, say it'll be at the end of the year every year, and they'll have this weekend and it'll celebrate the best people in your field. And say you were blessed enough to be one of the best people in your field for 6 years in a row. So that means you got to go through you got to go through the strenuous nature of doing your job, doing whatever it is you do. And then also, after, doing that and grinding, pause, and, doing your thing to the best way that you can do it, you're locked in, you're intent with it, you're intentional, you're one of the best in your field, right? So you do your thing. But so after being locked in, mentally locked in, physically locked in, whatever it is you do in your career path, you go to this event every year. Ask yourself this. And if the answer is yes, then that's fine. If you go to that celebration where they celebrate the best people in that field, if you go to that event twice, but you're qualified to go 6 times, after the first 2 times and you already know what to expect, are you really going to be just head over heels to just go the next 4 times? If you already done went twice, the next 4 times you'll be like, you know what, already been, I know what we gonna do. There's a chance, and I'm not saying that you would do this, but there's a chance for you to be like, you know what, I've been already. I appreciate the fact that y'all celebrated me. But you know what, I've been a couple times. I don't think I want to, participate in that, because I already been twice. I know what we're going to do. Let somebody else get the honor this year. But I appreciate the recognition. There's a chance that some people will opt to go that route. Now, there's also a chance that people be like, yeah, if y'all celebrate me, I'm going to be there every year. And I can't argue with that because, to be completely honest with you, me personally, my personal, just how I think mentally, the Pro Bowl for me, you celebrating me at the end of each season if I'm not able to make it to a Super Bowl, as long as I'm not hurt, knock on wood, as long as I'm not hurt, as long as nothing is going on with my family to where I have to be there for them, as long as there's nothing to where that, like, nothing that I'm losing or nothing that I'm risking playing in the game, if none of that is at stake, I'm playing in the Pro Bowl every year. I'm going to the celebration that y'all are having to celebrate the fact that I'm, blessed to be one of the best players in this league every year. I'm going to that. I'm going, okay, y'all invite me to, okay, we want to celebrate you as one of the best players in this league or best whatever. Okay, we're one of the best players of this league. Let's go and let's, represent. Because the way I look at it is you're representing or you're showing them, okay, we appreciate you as well. Because, okay, they invite you to the Pro Bowl to celebrate, okay, you're one of the best players in the NFL, right? Okay, you're one of the best players in the NFL. We're going to celebrate you in this game, and it's going to be nothing but other great NFL players there, and we're going to celebrate you guys. Y'all can just have fun and chill out and relax and just be around each other and just chill. Cool. The way I look at it is I'm kind of, if the NFL looks at me like that, I'm in a way representing them. So I don't want them to look at me, or at least I wouldn't want them to look at me and say, well, dang, every time we invite Chill to the Pro Bowl, he don't never show up. So we just, because my thing would be, well, even if I am one of the best players in the NFL, they just going to stop inviting me after a while, because every time hey, you want to come to the Pro Bowl? I'll be like, nah, I got this to do. I got that to do. Nah, I ain't going to be able to make it. So I feel like after a while, they're going to be like, well, shoot, we ain't even going to call. Even if I am blessed to be one of the best players in the league, they going to stop calling me after a minute if I keep showing them that I don't value the fact that they value me. Like, if I keep showing, nah, I ain't gonna be able to make it. The next year I ain't gonna be able to make it. Next year I ain't gonna be able to make it. Oh, nah, y'all can give this player, this spot to this player, or y'all can give the spot to somebody else. Because I feel like they take the time to recognize you as one of the best NFL players. I feel like you should, like, reciprocate the energy as far as showing them, okay, the fact that you see me that way, at least, the NFL stands for not for long. So the fact that y'all see me like that now, I appreciate that. Let me reciprocate the energy. Let me go play in the Pro Bowl. So that's how I look at it. But you got to understand, these players play these seasons, man, and they put their minds and their bodies, pause, through all of these, intense, intense sessions of just being mentally locked in and physically locked in and mentally being their best and physically being their best and having to block out everything else going on in their lives to make sure that they can be the best in between them lines, the best player that they can be. So it's a lot to, go from that and say, okay, I do this for 18 weeks, right? I'm locked in for 18 weeks, and then on top of that 18 weeks, let me go be locked in for another celebration. So even though it's a celebration thing, but let me go be locked in and be around some more players. Because here's the thing. From the outside looking in, I know people say, oh, they just ungrateful. They ungrateful, and they this and they that. But you got to understand, when you were in school, everybody went to school. When you were in school, you done been around all these people all season. Now, granted, you might not have all classes with all the people, you cool with, but you done been around, these people all year. You done been around the school all year, right? You done been, focused on tests, focused on, doing your homework, focused on doing your schoolwork, whatever the case may be. You done been focused on that for 9 months, okay? For 9 months, you done been focused on doing whatever you had to do in school to make sure that you, can get that diploma at the end, right? And make sure, or you can move on to the next grade at the end, whatever the case may be. You've been focused on that all year. So for them to reward you and say, hey, we going to reward you by allowing you to come to the school for an extra week past the time you were supposed to be here and off celebrating your summer, we're going to give you an extra week to come to school and be around these same people that you've been around all school year. As much as some people, like I said, will say, well, I go to the Pro Bowl regardless. Like I said, I'm one of them. I go to the Pro Bowl regardless. But it's going to be a couple people that be like, I'm around these people all year. What I'm going to sacrifice another week of my summer, of my off season, of my time that I'm supposed to be enjoying with my family and my kids and my significant other. What time why am I going to sacrifice that time I'm supposed to be spending with them to go be around these same people that I'll be around for 18 weeks of the season? Why am I going to risk that? Why am I going to risk getting hurt when I'm supposed to be getting ready for the next season? This is supposed to be my time to relax and chill out. Why am I risk planning these skills challenges and potentially getting hurt when I already going to have to get ready to train when it comes time for me to get ready for the next season? So it's understandable to me. I try to understand both perspectives. So it's understandable for me, at least, for players to say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to risk getting hurt. I don't want to sacrifice another week into my off season because they already have to, play 18 weeks of the season. So I don't want to have to risk another week of my off season and sacrifice that another week when I could be spending that with my family or, a lot of these players have kids. A lot of these players have wives. They don't want to risk that time they're supposed to be spending with them to be around these same players that they're around for 18 weeks of the year. So it's not that. And here's the other thing. Everyone does not look at everything from the same perspective. I try to understand that and I try to keep that in perspective. While you may value, and like I said, I would, if I was blessed to be in their position and I could be a Pro Bowler, I would value that. I would probably look at it as like an extra week to my season. So if I know, okay, because right? If I know, okay, I'm probably going to get the call for the Pro Bowl, I would just go ahead and put that into my off-season schedule. So I would just go ahead like this. I know I'm one of the best players, or blessed to be one of the best players in the NFL, hypothetically, right? So I would just go ahead and say, okay, if I have a girlfriend or a wife or whatever the case may be, I would go ahead and let her know, okay, look, this is how it's gonna go. Look, I'm gonna go to the Pro Bowl, knock this out. If there's some, festivities at the Pro Bowl, we can go do that, whatever. I'm knock out the Pro Bowl. It'll be like an extra week. Okay, so I'm knock out the Pro Bowl. And then after that, the real off season starts to where I'm fully off. I don't have nothing to do. I'm just fully, kind of resting, getting ready for the next season. I would just kind of put the Pro Bowl into my off season planning. Like, okay, this is an extra week. And then after that, that's when my off season starts. I wouldn't look at it as like, okay, this is my off season, but something is being placed in my off season. I wouldn't look at it like that. I would look at it as if this is just a part of the NFL year for me. And then after that, that's when my off season starts. That's how I would look at it. Now, obviously, that'll be different if I'm blessed enough to go to the Super Bowl, because if you go to the Super Bowl, everybody already knows you don't play in the Pro Bowl anyway. So the whole thing is, yeah, that would switch the whole schedule around. But if you're going to the Pro Bowl, I would just look at it as, okay, I know I got to be at the Pro Bowl for this week because I know, like I said, I'm blessed to be one of the best players in the NFL, hypothetically. So I know I got to be at the Pro Bowl. But then after that, that's when my offseason starts. I got these months. I got these time. I can relax. I can, get fully back to 100%. And then I can start training for the next year. I feel like some of these players, I feel like they look at it kind of from that perspective of like, this is my off season. I'm supposed to be off right now. And then I got to go do this on my off time. So I kind of feel like that's how they look at it. So I feel like maybe that's why they don't look at it as like a good thing, because they feel like I'm supposed to be resting right now. I'm supposed to be off right now. I'm supposed to be letting my body recover right now. Pause. And I'm playing in the Pro Bowl. So I kind of feel like maybe that's why they look at it. They looked at it as that, like, okay, it's like a downgrade of what could be because I'm doing this on my off time. I kind of feel like they should just look at it as part of their season if they're blessed to go to the Pro Bowl. That's how I kind of looked at it. But it's not looked at the same way as it used to be. So I'm glad that for this generation, or at least for the newer generation of players. I'm glad that, and I support the fact that it's an honors only thing now, because then it's good, because we don't have to worry about nobody getting hurt, nobody getting injured, nobody complaining, because now it's just an awards only ceremony. You go get your award, you get the little patch on your jersey, and you go on about your business, man. You go, okay, you're a Pro Bowler, cool. You get your pat, and the best part is now you don't have to worry about players saying, well, I don't want to play in no game. You can give my spot to somebody else. Now you ain't got to worry about that, because now, you're a Pro Bowler. Ain't no game you got to worry about. So if Lamar Jackson is a Pro Bowler, he's a Pro Bowler. He ain't got to worry about, okay, well, let me get my spot to this. No, he's a Pro Bowler, so he'll get the Pro Bowl check, and he'll be a Pro Bowler. So now the right people will be in the Pro Bowl now. So unless you go to the Super Bowl, of course. I don't know how that'll work if you go to the Super Bowl. That'll be very interesting to see. So I wonder if you still get the mark. I'm assuming not. I'm assuming you won't get the mark if you go to the Super Bowl like they normally do it. But that'll be interesting to see. But I'm glad that they shifted it to where the players are now, instead of just being a product of habit and just kind of just forcing these players to do something that they weren't happy with. And I feel like these players, like the NFLPA, backed and supported, I feel like they'll be more happy with this format. But we're long past the Jack Youngblood days, okay? The Jack Youngblood days of, having a broken fibula and playing, and having you breaking your fibula but still wanting to go play in the Pro Bowl because you don't want to miss that trip and celebration in Hawaii. So we're long past those days where you'll play hurt in the Pro Bowl. We're long past that. Okay, that's dead. Players don't look at the Pro Bowl like that anymore. They look at it more as like an award anyway now, in my opinion. So I feel like this will be a great thing. I'm glad that the NFL listened to its players, listened to, the people that are actually doing these things. And I really appreciate the NFL for actually, putting something into action to make the Pro Bowl more suitable for where these players are. Now, I will say this. Players, if y'all still are not happy with this evolution of the Pro Bowl, then I don't know what y'all want. Because, okay, you don't got to play in the game. You don't got to do nothing. You just show up, get your little patch on your jersey, show up to the award ceremony, and you're a Pro Bowler. If we still ain't happy with that, I don't know what y'all want the NFL to do. I don't know. Maybe just not have a Pro Bowl. I don't know. But I think the players will really receive this well. So we'll see. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below, man. Your boy Chill is out, man. Peace.